Alrighty folks, so here's our Durango here, and wrapped it up with the LA valve cover swap. And I got to get a breather for this driver's side valve cover here. I just got a rag sitting there just to keep dirt out, that's all. But that's why. But not a big deal. I got to get a breather. I got one. And get a little grommet, that'll take care of that. And it works, and seems like it's pretty good. Seems like everything's sealing up. I did have to go back a second go round and double check the valve cover bolts, so went ahead and did it in a star pattern, and this one's been okay. And then I might have to do it again to the driver's side on this one, but that's okay though. But looks fairly decent now, except for that ugly intake, but it's okay. But I'm gonna look into doing something about that intake too, and might be converting this thing over to a carburetor here soon, but don't want to do that till it's really truly necessary. But as you can see, they are LA valve covers, 5 bolts. So, and this is a 5.9 Magnum 360, so get this side done too. So, and always make sure you got them in the correct orientation there. 3 at the bottom, 2 at the top. That way you don't get them the wrong direction there. But that's okay. But yep, not too happy about my breather being next to my brake booster, but that's alright. It'll be just fine. But I am going to do something else too to this thing. I got 2 things I want to do, just small things. Is I need to get a fan guard for this and fix the fan guard. It got messed up in the accident, and I want to put that back on here. And I'd like to swap out this bracket for a non-AC bracket just to clean this up, and so it doesn't look kind of funny looking, but kind of empty there without that compressor there. But it's a little different style bracket that doesn't have this piece on it, and I don't want to cut this or nothing like that because I don't want to mess that up. I'd rather just find the correct bracket and eliminate this. And the good part about it is, and then you can get to this bypass hose when they're water pumping your intake, so that makes it nice too. But definitely coming along. I tell you what, been fighting a bunch of rust issues on this thing. But the frame and everything on this thing, the body is solid. It's just dumb stuff like the valve covers rotting out, and the fenders on the front were starting to rot out. But not these fenders themselves, but the original fenders. But it's just dumb stuff like this. But this frame is like perfect. Look at it. The frame is like perfect. I mean, I have threw a little paint on it, but still though. And I gotta fight these exhaust manifolds, so that's gonna be fun getting them out. But gotta do that. I gotta do those and do the intake. But 2 little things I want to do yet is I want to get rid of this heater hose so it's not sitting on top of my valve cover. I don't like how that's sitting, so we're gonna loop it different. And like I said, get me a fan guard, and we're gonna take this hose, instead of looping it around to right here, I think we're just going to come straight off down there and just come straight over to it this way, and then just tie the 2 together to clean that up a little bit. And that way it's not coming across my distributor cap, because I don't like that. That heater hose is sitting right on top of that distributor cap, and I mean that's the way it was from the factory, believe it or not. So we're going to get rid of that. I don't like that, and that'll clean this side up a little bit. And I got to take and do something about this radiator hose, but if I get my fan guard, this should fix this. I don't really like that, but see, that fan guard's missing, and that's what gave this a little support to hold this up. But I mean, it's not hurting nothing. I thought about just coming in here and just trimming it off like up here somewhere, and then just moving it around more, but I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm definitely gonna fix that heater hose. I don't like that, never have. That's the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. But, oh well. But it definitely looks a lot better. And I still want to pull them off one more final time to paint them black. And just to match the rest of the original color. I mean, that's the original color of the block and the heads anyway. And I think it kind of blends in a little bit more too. And but I mean, they're okay. I mean, I like the chrome look for now. You know, it grows on you a little bit, but it just kind of gives it away there, El Cheapo. But I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I did it. The valve covers were kind of scaly, as I showed y'all. And these valve covers are just a lot simpler to get the grommets for. You can get a PCV valve for them. You can get breathers for them. Pretty much night and day. And I had a time trying to find the original PCV valve for the original Magnum valve covers. And just the way they were, and just being scaly and all that, it was just time to come off. And I'm lucky that this thing didn't lose all my oil going down the road with that valve cover being that scaly like that. I mean, I poked them pinholes in it, pulling it off, but oof, that's a little rough there. So, but at least it looks a lot better now. So, but it's definitely doable. Look at that. At least my brake, I fixed my brake cap there. Those things are junk. I can't stand that. I want to take that thing off and put a cast iron one on there. Get a disc to drum them, but a cast iron. I can't stand them piece of shit, cheap ass master cylinders. But like clean it up a little bit. But got to do the intake gaskets yet. I'm gonna freshen that up, and you know, main reason too is just to eliminate vacuum leaks, and I'm kind of concerned about that little pan up underneath that intake there, and you know, I don't want to suck a bunch of oil into it and all that. And I mean, it's okay, you know, for now, but you know, I just rather catch it now before it's too late, if you know what I mean. But eventually we're going to end up overhauling this motor. I just got to make my mind up whether or not I'm going to overhaul the one in my Edsel or if I'm going to do this one. But definitely ain't cheap anymore, that's for sure. But we're going to save this thing. But I wish I knew how to pinstripe a little bit, just for the heck of it. I'd get me a little ridge stripe pinstriping pin there, and I'd go around this outer where it's stamped on this valve cover here. I would outline that just for the heck of it. But might write Christine on these valve covers, I don't know. But nah, you can do all that. But hey, I'm gonna get some paint. I'm gonna pull them off. Heck, I might just pull them. I might just paint them on the motor. I mean, it's gonna have to be rebuilt anyway, so might just do that and throw a little black. You know, I don't really like doing that, but just so they blend in better and it just looks a little cleaner. But still kind of got that ugly old intake. But I don't like that breather. Trust me, I don't like it, because I know it's small, but I did that to get rid of all that crap and junk over there. But believe it or not, I might be putting that junk back on it, but I don't know yet. I don't know, but that's where we're at, and tickled to death about it. Makes it nice, and get a PCV valve for it now. Get that little grommet down there. That ain't no big deal. The hose ain't no big deal. And that's just a piece of 3/8 hose there, and that's just a regular PCV valve. And that grommet, I said, is a small block Chevrolet grommet. That one is, the ID on this one's a little bit smaller for this PCV valve to go in. And then the one on this side is going to be a little bit bigger for your breather. So I got to dig me a grommet out, which I have, and found me a breather to throw in here. I might have to rob it off that 305 I got. It's in my Biscayne, but I really don't want to do that. But I don't want to expose that 305. That's the one I did last year, the top end freshen up on, and I don't want to expose it to the elements, so figure out something here. But tickled to death about it, and fire it up one time for you, and I think we'll probably end up ending the video here. But yes, you can definitely put LA valve covers on a Magnum. You can see that little ding there. That thing's so annoying. Okay, hit turn key. But yeah, it actually seems like it runs a little smoother, but valve curves ain't gonna really make it much difference. But the PCV valve will definitely make it idle smoother, but valve curves ain't gonna really do that much. Seems a tiny bit smoother. Yeah, I know, I don't like leaving that rag with that fan rotating like that. But it'll be alright. I put a little, I'm not a fan of using RTV, but I did put a little bit in the corners there on the bottom part of the valve cover. But other than that, people death about it. Shut her down here. Ain't got much gas. I tell you what, this thing had some good heat. But big difference. It's a lot cheaper. And like I said, you can get a PCV valve for it. You can get the grommets for it. You can get a breather for it. It eliminates all the rust issues and all that like I had. And plus you got only 5 bolts there versus 10. And yeah, they might not seal it up as good as a lot of people would say is the 10 bolt, because they seal up a little bit better. But if you clean everything up and you do it the right way and use good cork style gaskets, these are rubber. I don't like that. I'm definitely going to put cork ones on this thing later on. I ordered cork ones for it and they sent me rubber ones. I was kind of pissed about that, but oh well, whatever it is, what it is, I ain't gonna complain about it. But definitely gonna get cork ones for it. They just last a lot longer. But hopefully we'll do another review of it after a month and see what's what with it. Make sure they're still sealing up good. But like I said, I don't like rubber gaskets. But that's the only thing I don't like. Other than that, I think they'll be just fine. And if I would have got the cork ones like I was supposed to get, I think it'll be fine. But that's where we got it. And if y'all enjoyed the video here, and this one took me about, I'd say about 3.5 hours to pull off, because I had to fight them bolts, especially the ones closer to the end there, to that booster there on the end. I had to fight them, and couldn't even hardly get a wrench on them. They were so rusted to pieces. And then this side was kind of the same thing. Not as bad there, knock on wood, but still pretty rough. This one I got about 4 hours in. But if the bolts weren't all rough like that, I mean, you could do this in like 30 minutes probably. But what takes so long is trying to fight all them rusty bolts and getting the surface and everything cleaned up and trying to be careful. And that's why I had to shop back my hand and scraping along the edge there. And I didn't want to get anything foreign down to this 360 here. But yeah, I tell you what, if I had to choose, now this is my personal preference before we end the video here, if I had to choose between a small block Chevrolet and a small block Ford and a small block Chrysler, or a small block Mopar, whatever you want to call it, as far as the newer ones, with their factory roller cam and good heads, and having the provision to run a mechanical fuel pump and all that, and the distributor gear issue, this right here is the winner. Tell you what, Mopar had it right, because nice thing about this motor here is you could put a point style distributor in here. You don't have to worry about the distributor gear issue, because the distributor gear on this, and just like the LA's, is not made into the distributor, so to speak. So the distributor gear, it's not pressed onto the distributor shaft. You just buy the gear and just drop it in the block. That's it. That's all you got to do. So that allows you to run any type of distributor your heart desires And something like this, you can run points in it, and you know, be able to run like a Edelbrock intake or a Holly intake, and you know, put a Holly 4-barrel on it or Edelbrock, something like that. I really like Holly. I think Holly's a little better performance wise. But tell you what, Mopar had it right. Mopar, this right here is our winner. Woo!